In this episode, we're exploring one of the most critical steps before building any business: validation. Margot Bushnaq, founder and CEO of BrandBucket, shares how to test your idea before investing time or money. Gather honest feedback and know when it's time to stop thinking and start building. If you've ever wondered, is my idea worth pursuing? This episode will give you the answer. Let's get into it. In this next segment, we're going to be talking about validating your business idea. So, why validation matters? Why is validating your business idea so important before investing too much time or money?
Validating is important because if you have no customers, you have no business. So you need to get at least a few yeses from friends, from colleagues, from people online that your idea has weight before you go any further.
Yep. How can skipping the validation phase hurt a new founder or startup?
You could spend months building something that nobody understands, and you have to go back to scratch. You have to start over.
Leads to frustration and giving up on the entrepreneurial process also.
Yeah, if you go 3 months into something and nobody likes what you're selling, then you could completely give up. It doesn't mean that you aren't good at building a business. You just weren't good at identifying the right idea.
Yeah. What are the key signals that tell you an idea is worth pursuing?
When somebody comes and tells you, I wish I had found this sooner. So if somebody discovers you, and that happened with BrandBucket, people were coming to us and saying, this is genius. I wish I had this 2 years ago. That was our aha moment. We had sat around the living room throwing ideas out for months about what we were going to do next.
Yeah.
And we never even thought, we didn't sit down and say, let's change the domain name industry. We were thinking outside the domain name industry. And it wasn't until someone came to us and said, you guys are really good at this. I wish this had existed. That's when the light bulb went off.
Yep. Yep. I guess that leads into the next segment, which is market feedback. What's the best way to gather honest feedback on an early stage business idea?
Usually, unfortunately, customers are very stingy with feedback. I think there's lots of tools out there that either gamify feedback or give rewards for feedback or encourage people to send the product to their friends in exchange for discounts on future orders. All of those products exist because feedback is that important. You need to understand what your customers like and do not like.
Yep. So how can someone tell the difference between encouragement and real interest from potential users?
What do you mean by encouragement?
Basically, somebody giving you a compliment about your product, or somebody who is actually willing to pay you to use your product. How can you gauge the difference between the two?
If someone gives you a true unsolicited compliment, that means your product really resonated with them.
Yep.
That's rare, and when you get that, that's gold. You have to hold on to that.
Yep. What kind of questions should you be asking people when you're testing your ideas?
You ask them how easy it was to use, because if something's difficult to use, even if it solves their problem, they eventually will walk away. A customer will walk away. So you need to be concerned about ease of use. You need to be concerned about value for what they've paid.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe your price point is off. So value is a huge one. Maybe you need to offer more for what your price point is. Anything else you can think of?
Um, no, I guess like asking the customer how much would you pay for something, you're always gonna get lowball. It's and
Yeah.
it's like to get the true value, like of the product. First of all, is understanding whether it solves the problem
Mhm.
on point, and the pain point that it solves, and the value of that pain point to them, and then potentially you can equate that into how valuable that idea is to
Mhm.
their day to day. But yeah, you're right. Moving on to competitor awareness, the competitive landscape,
Mhm.
basically. Why is researching the competition a valuable part of validation?
If there's a lot of competition, it means that the customers already understand the need. So it actually makes your job easier. Going into an industry or a niche that doesn't exist is extremely hard. But if you can go into a niche that exists but just be better, your your job selling will be easier. And understanding your competitors allows you to see exactly where the gaps are. And just if you lay out, you should be very diligent by laying out every single feature that they meet, every single customer type and customer range that they speak to. And once that's laid out, you'll be able to very clearly see where the holes are.
Yeah. How can someone use competitor analysis to refine their own idea without feeling discouraged?
There's room for multiple players in every business. And so if you compare yourself to someone, you'll be discouraged. But again, if you look for the gaps, if you look where you can be slightly better, if you can be 10% better or 10% faster or 10% cheaper, then you shouldn't be discouraged. You should actually see that as, three different opportunities that you can
Yeah.
go after.
Yeah. What if you find someone already doing something similar? Does that mean you should stop?
No, there's many ways to look at a problem. Seeing that someone's doing something similar, the first thing you need to look at is if someone's doing something similar, how successful are they? And if they're really struggling, maybe it's not the best idea to go into that business, but you need to look at why they're struggling. Is their messaging not good? Are they having trouble reaching their customers? And is that a skill of yours? Are you better at messaging? Are you better at getting the word out? Then where they're struggling, you can succeed. But if they're doing everything right and they're still struggling, maybe the two of you, your ideas are not resonating with the customers yet, and it needs to be refined.
Yeah. Moving on to micro testing or small scale testing. What are some ways to test a business idea without building the full product?
You test one feature at a time, and sometimes you don't even have to build a feature. You can just go talk about the feature, and if by talking about something, if you can get a couple people to come back and say, "That's really cool. I wish that existed," then you're on the right track.
Yeah. Can you share an example of a mini test or low cost validation method you've seen work?
I mean, our own business was kind of a low cost test. I mean, we put our site up on WordPress, which was an engine that didn't allow for shopping carts at the time, didn't allow for multiple people to log in and manage. It was just purely a content management system. And we were able to put our idea up and have people find it and tell us, this is really great. You need to expand this. You need to flesh this out.
Yeah. How can someone know when it's time to move beyond testing and start building?
When you have people dying to give you money,
Yeah.
if someone says, if you release this, if someone asks to be put on your beta release newsletter list,
Yeah.
then you know it's time to start building. If people are just waiting for your solution, you hit go and you
Yep.
and you run with it.
So let me ask you this. What's the mindset someone should have during the validation process?
To not be so focused on your idea that you're blind to what the customer is asking. If you present an idea and the customer comes back and they have a different take on your idea, you shouldn't necessarily correct them and say, no, that's not what I meant. My product is going to do this. You should listen to what the customer asked and maybe take that as, well, they're speaking from their pain point. Maybe they just secretly told me what their pain point is. And I should really listen hard and see and if that's a direction that I could go in.
Yep. What's the one thing you wish more people understood about validating a business idea?
That you don't have to build fully to get validation. That you can talk about pieces of your product in public. In general, people are too afraid to share ideas because they're afraid that somebody's going to steal their idea. And as I've mentioned before, there's no such thing as a singular idea. Every idea has been thought about before, but it's the first person to bring it to market and the first person to bring it to market in the right way that's going to win. So talk about your ideas, put them out there. And even if somebody steals it, they're stealing it for a different reason than why you're building. Your passion is your passion, and you are going to build it better no matter what.
So in a way, somebody stealing your idea is validation
Absolutely.
of the fact that your idea is actually a good idea.
Yeah. So if you, instead of building your product in secret and releasing it all at once, talk about your features. Ask people, would this be valuable to you? And don't be afraid of putting your idea out there.
Yeah. So for someone ready to test their idea today, where should they start?
You need to go someplace where people are not afraid to speak their mind and to give you the honest truth. And I'm sure there are more, but my favorite is Reddit. I mean, Reddit is full of people who will tell you nothing but the truth.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. If you are ready to turn validated ideas into real businesses, don't let naming slow you down. Visit brandbucket.com to find curated selection of premium, brandable domain names that can help launch your brand faster and stronger. And remember, great ideas deserve great names. Check out BrandBucket and get one step closer to bringing your vision to life. See you in the next episode.